It's officially 9:30. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And if the clerk could take the roll, please.
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Commissioner Brastad.
Here.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
The first item is tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Motion carries. Then we have review of checks issued from Finance and Central Services and from Human Services. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Then we have the approval of our minutes from our December 19th County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We have a couple of items under Chair's remarks today. And as you may know, homelessness continues to be a problem in Minnesota as well as within Anoka County. And with the temperatures that we have been experiencing the last couple of weeks, really hovering in not just single digits, but below zero weather, our efforts to find a solution becomes really even more dire. And as one measure of the extent of homelessness in our local community, the Heading Home Anoka Housing Collaborative organizes and executes a one-night count of individual families without a permanent home called the point-in-time count. And I know that people always say, why on earth would you do this in the middle of January in Minnesota? This particular date is set by the federal government. So that's why it happens at that point in time. In 2017, volunteers in Anoka County identified 142 people who were homeless, some of whom were families with children. This year's point-in-time count is set for Wednesday, January 24th. And this morning, we're going to learn a little bit more about what the count is, why it's so important, and how each of you can get involved. I'd like to call in Jerry Peterson, Director of Community Social Services and Behavioral Health, to begin a conversation. Jerry?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to talk about such an important issue and an opportunity for people to participate around the issues of homelessness. I appreciated, Commissioner, your comment about the weather and how cold it's been. I think it does give us, although unpleasant, it gives us an opportunity just to empathize a little bit about the struggles of individuals who are homeless out in this kind of environment, and how important it is for all of us to participate in finding places for people to live that need it. I do have the opportunity, I'm going to introduce to you a few individuals, a couple who are going to speak here this morning and provide you some information. They spend numerous hours trying to improve the lives of those who are homeless, and their passion and commitment are encouraging and inspiring to know individuals such as this. First is Jonna Krantz, and she's the current chair of Heading Home Anoka Collaborative, and she's also the program director for Stepping Stones, which I know many of you are familiar with. And then Michelle Reed is our Anoka County Homeless Program Planner and Coordinator. I know many of you know them. And then we also, although she won't be speaking, we also have Betty Nato from the YMCA, and she's the current vice chair of Heading Home. And they're just going to briefly, as the Commissioner said, walk you through some information about the Heading Home Collaborative and the point-in-time count. So, ladies.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us come in to talk about this. So as Jerry said, I'm Jonna. I'm the program director at Stepping Stone. But I'll tell you a little bit about the Heading Home Anoka Housing Collaborative that I'm the chair for. Heading Home Anoka Housing Collaborative is our local HUD initiative to end homelessness. We work together in the suburban communities of Washington, Dakota, Scott, and Carver as a continuum of care to collectively report our results to housing and urban development. The point in time counts the number of people experiencing homelessness on a given night. Michelle will go into more detail that in a minute. The housing inventory counts the number of beds we have to house those who are experiencing homelessness. The results of both the point in time and the housing inventory count are reported through the annual housing assessment report to Congress, which then determines the amount of money available to the continuum of care of ours, like ours, to compete for funds to aid in our quest to end homelessness. Then, based on the system's performance measures, HUD awards the dollars to the continuum of cares to continue our work. So there's a lot going on in this whole process. So Michelle, I'll skip back. This is a large representation on your monitor of community agencies that are partnering with us in Anoka, the Anoka Housing Collaborative. Those agencies who have attended at least 50% of the meetings over the last 12 months are eligible to vote on issues related to the collaborative. So now Michelle will take a few minutes to talk about the point in time.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here. What is the point in time count? Well, it is a Housing and Urban Development's assessment on the number of people experiencing homelessness across the county or across the country on a given day. And why is the point in time count done? Well, it's done as a measure of community impact on homelessness, and it evaluates the need for additional housing resources and supportive services. When is the PIT count done? Well, the entire state will be counting on Wednesday, January 24th, and locally, Anoka County reports with the suburban counties as our continuum of care, along with the other continuums throughout the state. Those results go to HUD, thus creating what the big picture of homelessness looks like across the county, the state, and the nation. Who conducts the point in time count? Well, social service agencies, nonprofits, and community volunteers. And where is the PIT count done? In outdoor locations, emergency shelters, and transitional housing programs. So the Anoka County point in time data from Literally Homeless, for those from 2015 through 2017, as you can see, these are the numbers that were directly reported to HUD on literal homelessness over the last 3 collective years. Looking at specifically Anoka County's point in time data for 2017 by the household type, when we zone in on that and break it down, what we see that while there are 48 households who live outside, 104 households that are in shelter, 252 households are actually couch hopping or living with other people. This is really what homelessness looks like across Anoka County and why it may not appear as obvious as it does in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And how people can help. This link will provide folks with information on how they can volunteer at anokacounty.us/2018 PIT count. That is, again, happening on January 24th. There is a training for each person who volunteers, and they are paired with others who've participated before. So, Madam Chair, Commissioners, I would like to thank you for the opportunity this morning to discuss the point in time, why it's important, and how people can get involved.
Thank you so much to each and every one of you who are involved in this process. Just appreciate the passion that you have for trying to find housing for people within our community who are experiencing homelessness. And there's a lot of work behind the scenes that happens each and every day, and want to make sure that we get the word out so that we do actually have the accurate counts out there as much as possible. So again, thank you so much for your great work.
Thank you.
Then just wanted to mention the Top Secret Project events. Decoding the Mysteries of the Teen Domain really talks about the issues of opioid usage as well as other issues as well. Great opportunity for parents to come and participate. The first one is at Centennial High School in the West Building. That will be on January 9th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. It's a free event. They have youth activities for grades 6 and up, which will include pizza and guest speakers to talk about the risks of drug use and other issues that young people face. They will also have child care available. And for the adults, they will have an opportunity to really walk through a mock teenage bedroom and identify what some of the items may be, that they should be looking for. So I went to the first one and it was eye-opening. I learned a lot, so would encourage you to participate. It will have a presentation and discussion with the Hazelton Betty Ford Foundation staff as well, and they just really did a nice job. So the second one will be on January 11th at the Anoka Hennepin School District Educational Service Center, and that will be again from 6 to 8:30. And if you want to register for the event, you can go to our website, www.anokacounty.us/top secret. And again, would encourage you to look at attending. Now, at the Anoka Hennepin site, there will be no childcare. There will be youth activities for grades 5 and up, but again, no childcare for younger children. And so encourage folks to find other arrangements for their young children, because it really is not the appropriate venue for them to be participating in. But again, great opportunity for people to really become knowledgeable about the things that they should be watching for. Okay, and with that, we will move on to committee reports. And the first is Management Committee report. Commissioner West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My data is information only, so that concludes my report.
Okay,
What was that?
so information only, that concludes her report. Now we'll move on to consider approving engagement of Simons, Hanley, Conroy LLC, Kruger Dickinson LLC, and Von Briesen and Roper SC as counsel in relation to claims against opioid manufacturers. And I'm going to have Tony talk a little bit about this before we move on it. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Before you this morning is an engagement letter where the county board would retain the law firm of the 3 law firms that you have just mentioned to pursue recovery for cost imposed on Anoka County and its citizens by the manufacture of opioids. This is a topic that has been in the front of the news lately. We are all impacted. We're, throughout the nation, we of course have had impacts. And the county board did interview 3 law firms. And after some very good questioning by the board of these law firms, have selected the Kruger, Dickinson, Simmons, Hanley, Conroy, and the Briesen and Roper firms to represent Anoka County in a federal lawsuit to be filed against the manufacturer of opioids. My understanding is this firm, or this trio of firms, represents well over 140 municipalities at the current time. The Simmons Hanley firm has been pursuing claims for opioid abuse for about 10 years, so they're very, very experienced in these matters. The suit, my understanding, will be filed in federal court and is part of what's called a multi-district litigation. Multi-district litigation in federal courts is where there are similar or identical suits filed throughout the country. They are consolidated into one action. And that action has been venued in the Northern District of Ohio. Should this matter proceed to trial, it then will return to federal court in Minneapolis for trial. Other counties in Minnesota have also filed a suit against the opioid manufacturers, as well as counties throughout the nation. In discussing this with the Kruger Dickinson law firm, they had fully expect about 1,000 out of 3,000 counties throughout the United States will probably take some sort of action based on what they feel are the actions of the manufacturers. This will be a lengthy process. I should assure the board and the public this is not an overnight thing. I expect this will be fully litigated and very, very hard on both sides. It will be a lengthy process. I do not know if we'll have any resolution, certainly within the next year or two, about this. The law firm will be assisting the county and its employees in conducting of discovery. They have assured us that they retain third parties to certainly help us respond to any sort of discovery request, which was very critical, I think, on the board's decision to make sure that there is not an undue burden placed on the county and its employees to pursue this litigation. The fee is a 25% contingent fee, which means the county pays no fee unless there is a recovery. So at that point, Madam Chair, that is the essence of the engagement letter that the board will be considering this morning to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And as Tony mentioned, there was I think a lot of thoughtfulness that went into this, and we wanted to make sure that we were truly doing our due diligence before moving forward with this. And so, wanted to make sure that we took the time to do that and kind of went back and forth with the firm as well to make sure that we were really put in the best position possible. So, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner?
I would just comment that we're not uncommon. This is, many counties throughout the state are joining in legislation, using different law firms, and so it really was a tug and push to decide which one to go with. And I would like to applaud each and every member of our board, because there were more good questions asked at that work session than I've heard in a very long time in many different venues. Again, though, seeing as we will be engaging in a lawsuit, we probably won't be having a lot more conversations about this, because that's inappropriate, of course. But I do want the public to be very aware that we're not spending county tax dollars here. We may be spending some county employee time, but limited, as was discussed earlier. And I want them to understand, we all went into this with our eyes wide open, understanding and knowing where we're going from here, which wasn't the case prior to that meeting. So for that, that's my comments, Madam Chair.
Okay. Further discussion?
Madam Chair, I would like to echo that. Certainly, I thought the board came together and made a very, very good decision, very, very insightful questions. I thought the board did an excellent job in coming to the conclusion that it did. I certainly would echo Commissioner Schulte's feelings about the matter, and as the county's legal advisor, I certainly applaud the way this board came together and made a decision.
Commissioner Gamache?
Thank you. Yeah, obviously, there's been a lot printed and a lot in the media about opioid issues and everything, and I know that that's why the board, and with Mr. Palumbo's help, brought together some of the law firms that are involved, and we had a really great meeting that discussed a lot of things. But if anyone's interested, there's an article that was in the October 31st New Yorker that really details a lot of what's been happening over the years, going back, because some of these things have had almost a decade have been out there. So if anyone's interested, that's out on the New Yorker website, and you can get it there. I think it was the October 31st edition of the New Yorker, which gives a lot of detailed information as to a lot of what's been happening, both legally and also on the sides of pharmaceutical companies. So I encourage anyone who's interested to take a look at that.
Well, it certainly has had a significant impact on the lives of so many within our community, and, frankly, as a result on our county budgets in a whole host of different areas. So thought it was important and prudent to move forward. Okay, with that, roll call vote.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anything else to come before the county board? Not, meeting is adjourned.